Hi there, Leo. Thank you for joining me for your weekly forecast for week commencing the 23rd of June. The Sun continues in the most reflective part of your scope, and from the middle of the week it's actually going to be forging a really sweet alliance with Neptune. Basically, this combination asks you to invest in your imagination and your senses, to not necessarily just look at things in a factual way, but to really tune out and access the part of our nature that we don't always find the time or the inclination to embrace, the more spiritual side, perhaps the more compassionate side, or even the daydreaming side. However, there are some harsher aspects at play this week too, not least that the Mars-Uranus opposition, which goes on all week, can certainly rev up quite a lot of different vibes, but particularly to do with a desire to have your voice, or at least have your voice heard. And if you're someone who tends to actually be very considerate of other people, it's possible that this particular aspect this week can make you much more rebellious. And though the Sun is making its way through this sector of reflection, it perhaps also is giving you the opportunity to think about some things that you're not particularly happy with. And you may find yourself being more strident about punching your point of view across this week, and not be so fearful about rocking the boat. This could be in a professional context, it could be in a relationship, it could even be at home. But the rebel in you can certainly be aroused. If you're travelling, you might decide to do so quite spontaneously, and that actually can be quite a sort of breath of fresh air. But if you are going from A to B, don't see it as a race that you need to get there in the quickest time, because this aspect can lead to accidents. So you need to slow down, have a plan, enjoy the journey, don't focus too much on getting to the destination. However, there is one sensational new development this week, Leo, and that sees Venus, the planet of love and affection, move into the jolliest and most sociable part of your scope, where she is going to be for the next 28 days. And this can be a precursor of some much more exciting, outgoing times to come. But this points towards getting closer with one friend during that time. And for some lions, this could even mean someone you know, or who gets introduced through a friend, a mutual friend potentially, could become something so much more, all the way to even a romantic fling. However, by the end of this week, Neptune becomes even more influential. It's angling brilliantly to the new moon on Friday, but more negatively to Neptune. So when it comes to facts and figures, I do think it's going to be important just to take your time to pick these over, particularly if you're thinking about going into a business situation with a friend, because that really could scramble your brains. But the link between Neptune and the new moon can definitely be very positive, and it's really asking you to just not necessarily always be guided by your mind and a more logical approach to life. We all find it very difficult to do, but it is about tuning in to our inner voice. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.